6:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Danushka Madavala, read by Sounditavam. The Sri Lankan government rejected the allegations made by the Office of the High Commission of the Human Rights against Sri Lanka. The Pakistan Prime Minister concludes a successful two-day visit to Sri Lanka. The 2020 O-level admission cards available online. A presidential commission to make recommendations on increasing the efficiency of the customs. The Bar Association of Sri Lanka has elected President's Council Salia Piris as the new president of the association for the year 2021 to 2022. A new 20 rupee coin issued to mark the 70th anniversary of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. In world news, North Korea's Kim calls for tougher discipline in his military. The Sri Lankan government rejected the allegations made by the Office of the High Commission of the Human Rights against Sri Lanka. Issuing a release, the Foreign Minister says that the OHCHR report, which was presented yesterday, emanates from the resolution 30/1 and 40/1, from which the government of Sri Lanka announced its withdrawal of co-sponsorship at the 43rd session of this council last year. Sri Lanka rejects the High Commissioner's report, which has unjustifiably broadened its scope and mandate further, incorporating many issues of governance and matters that are essentially domestic for any self-respecting sovereign country. This is in complete violation of Article 2.7 of the Charter of the UN that states, "Nothing contained in the present Charter shall authorize the United Nations to intervene in matters which are essentially within the domestic jurisdiction of any state." The trajectory that has emerged with regard to the recommendations and conclusions reflects the preconceived, politicized and prejudicial agenda which certain elements have relentlessly pursued against Sri Lanka. These recommendations are based on ill-founded allegations. Sri Lanka categorically rejects the conclusions and recommendations in the High Commissioner's report. The call for asset freezes, travel bans, references to the ICC, and the exercise of universal jurisdiction by individual states based on evidence that up to date has been denied access to and retained by the High Commissioner's office, with some of it unreleased for 30 years, particularly in relation to a country like Sri Lanka, which has consistently and constructively engaged with the UN and its mechanisms, points to a distinct and imminent danger which the international community as a whole needs to take note of. Such unilateral actions by certain countries are unacceptable and a violation of the principles of natural justice. The contents of the report, which have been drawn from the said disputed reports, are rife with factual inaccuracies that appear to equate atrocities committed by the LTTE, a terrorist organization proscribed internationally, with legitimate action taken by the government to safeguard the territorial integrity of the country and the right to life of our people. In the statement, the minister added that insistence on ever-expanding externally driven prescriptions, notwithstanding our continuous cooperation and engagement with this Council and all UN bodies, can pose numerous challenges, and such processes could set a dangerous precedent affecting all member states of the UN. We regret the disproportionate attention drawn to Sri Lanka by this Council, driven by political motivations. Sri Lanka calls upon the members of this Council that any resolution which is based on this report be rejected by the Council and be brought to a closure, the minister added. Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan, who concluded a two-day official visit to Sri Lanka on Wednesday, has announced a new $50 million line of credit facility to Sri Lanka for defence cooperation, a joint communique on the visit said. At the invitation of Sri Lanka's Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa, the Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan paid a two-day official visit to Sri Lanka. This was the first visit by the Prime Minister of Pakistan to Sri Lanka since the formation of the new governments in both the countries. Prime Minister Imran Khan received a warm ceremonial welcome by the Prime Minister and the Cabinet of Ministers of Sri Lanka. Prime Minister Imran Khan, who was accompanied by a high-level delegation comprising federal ministers and senior government officials, held delegation-level meetings with Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa on Tuesday and President Gotabaya Rajapaksa yesterday. Both sides comprehensively reviewed the multifaceted bilateral relationship in diverse fields of cooperation, the joint communique said. The visit afforded a timely opportunity to both sides to further build on their close and regular consultations, particularly in the areas identified during the recently held Foreign Secretary-level bilateral political consultations, Joint Economic Commission session and the Commerce Secretaries-level talks. Both sides reached broad consensus on ways and means to further strengthen cooperation in a comprehensive manner and agreed to hold frequent meetings, promote high-level and delegation-level exchanges, and enhance the process of consultations, cooperation and coordination between their respective institutions. Prime Minister Imran Khan reiterated Pakistan's support for the socio-economic development of Sri Lanka in line with the vision of a peaceful neighbourhood. The two sides reviewed the extensive engagement that exists between the two countries in promoting cultural linkages, human resource development and capacity building in diverse areas, as well as educational and technical cooperation. The Pakistan side announced 100 scholarships in the field of medicine as part of Pakistan-Sri Lanka Higher Education Cooperation Programme. The Sri Lankan side appreciated the cooperation being extended by Pakistan in human resource development and capacity building. While realizing the existence of great potential of religious tourism to Buddhist archaeological sites and noting the close ancient and cultural ties dating back to the Gandhara civilization, the two sides underscored the importance of enhancing cooperation in the field of tourism and highlighted the benefits of sharing expertise in the hospitality industry, including training and capacity building. The Pakistan side announced its initiative of establishing an Asian Civilization and Culture Centre at the University of Peradeniya, near Kandy. Both sides recognized the importance of enhancing air connectivity to promote people-to-people contact, tourism, trade and culture. In order to explore new avenues for enhancing bilateral trade and investment between the two countries, a high-level Pakistan-Sri Lanka Trade and Investment Conference was held on the 24th of February 2021. The conference provided an opportunity for effective and meaningful engagement between the business communities of the two countries. At the conference, both the Sri Lanka and Pakistan sides reiterated the importance of strengthening economic relations in key areas of mutual interest and diversifying trade and investment between the two countries. The two sides stressed the importance of realizing the goal of achieving the $1 billion bilateral trade target and agreed to work towards broadening and deepening of the Pakistan-Sri Lanka Free Trade Agreement. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. A 5-member commission of inquiry has been appointed to study the prevailing situation of the Sri Lanka customs and make recommendations on increasing its efficiency. The appointment of the commission was made on the directives of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the statement read further. Supreme Court Judge Shiran Anthony has been appointed as the chairman of the commission. The Department of Examination stated that candidates who have not received their admission cards for the 2020 GCE Ordinary Level Examination can download the same online. Accordingly, the relevant admission cards for the examination, which will commence on March 1st, can be accessed via the official website of the Exams Department. The postponed GCE Ordinary Level Examination for the year 2020 is scheduled to be held from the 1st to the 10th of March. Meanwhile, if any amendments need to be made to the exam admission cards, they can be done online via the website onlineexams.gov.lk/EIC. The Department of Exams recently announced. However, it is to be noted that a candidate can only amend their admission card once, the department stated. And that concludes local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
The Bar Association of Sri Lanka has elected President's Council Salia Piris as the new president of the association for the year 2021-2022. President's Council Salia Piris is the 26th president of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. According to official results, Peiris received an overwhelming majority of 2,355 votes following the election held on Wednesday by the association to appoint the office bearers. President's Council Peiris had received 5,162 votes, while 2,807 votes had been cast for his rival candidate, President's Council Kuvera de Souza. Senior Attorney-at-Law Rajiv Amarasuriya has been elected as the Secretary of the Bar Association. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
In Watchlight, the Prisons Department has introduced an online facility for prison visits, which enables relatives of inmates to have a video chat with inmates. The online service enables relatives of inmates to book a date and time of their convenience. The department said the service, which is currently available only for the Angunukola Palasa prison, would be later available for prisons across the country and came to you in Watchlight.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
In world news headlines, the White House to roll out the Johnson & Johnson vaccine doses next week pending authorization. COVAX vaccine sharing scheme delivers first doses to Ghana. North Korea's Kim calls for tougher discipline in its military. The White House COVID-19 response coordinator Jeff Zients said yesterday the United States expects to roll out 3 to 4 million doses of Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccines next week, pending authorization from the Food and Drug Administration. A Johnson & Johnson executive on Tuesday said the company expected to ship nearly 4 million doses of the vaccine once it gained authorization. The additional vaccine will help President Joe Biden's administration in its goal of ramping up vaccinations across the country as it seeks to control the pandemic that has cost more than 500,000 lives in the United States and pummeled the economy. Ghana has become the first country to receive coronavirus vaccines through the COVAX vaccine sharing initiative. A delivery of 600,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine arrived in Accra on Wednesday. The first recipients are due to be healthcare workers. The COVAX scheme aims to reduce the divide between rich countries and poorer nations unable to buy doses. The program is planning to deliver about 2 billion vaccine doses globally by the end of the year. Ghana, which has a population of over 30 million, was chosen as the first recipient of the free vaccines after promising quick distribution and meeting the criteria set by COVAX. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un chaired a military commission meeting, state media KCNA said on Tuesday, where he called for more control and discipline within the military. The meeting comes amid Kim's drive to rally his ruling Workers' Party to implement new policy goals for the next 5 years that were disclosed in a rare Congress last month, including the ramping up of the military power and greater nuclear war deterrence. The meeting addressed a series of problems about political activities and discipline among military officials and called for tougher rules to control such matters. Kim said the establishment of revolutionary discipline within the military would decide the survival of the army and the success or failure of its activities, KCNA said. Back to the headlines of the world news. The White House to roll out the Johnson & Johnson vaccine doses next week, pending authorization. COVAX vaccine sharing scheme delivers first doses to Ghana. North Korea's Kim calls for tougher discipline in its military. And that concludes this bulletin of world news.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
From the first step you take till the time we meet, the trusted leader prioritizes you always. All you need under one roof. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
In development news, the first wind-solar hybrid power plant is to be set up in the Jaffna district. This plant will provide electricity around the clock to dwellers in 3 islands who now get electricity only for a few hours a day, said Power Minister Dallas Alaperuma in Parliament yesterday. He refuted allegations that there is an attempt to grant the islands, including the Delph Island, to China. He said this is a canard spread by the opposition and certain media. He also said so far the tender of the same project has not been granted to any party. He also assured that the government would never stop and never work to the agenda of any other country. That's development news, and moving on to sports. Sri Lanka's first Test captain Bandula Varnapura yesterday handed over his nomination for the post of Vice President from the K. Madivanan camp ahead of Sri Lanka's cricket elections, which will be held on May 20th. This is the first time that Varnapura has decided to contest for cricket elections. Meanwhile, the Venerable Batramulle Seelaratna Thera handed over his nomination to contest for the post of Vice President. This is the first time that a Venerable Thera has submitted nominations for the SLC election. He handed over his nomination representing the St. Anthony Sports Club in the Vanni district of the Northern Province. SLC will elect new office bearers for the next 2 years on the 20th of May. That's sports news. We look at business news next.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
An ancient Ola leaf original copy of the Mahavamsa, currently kept at the library of the University of Peradeniya, is to be declared as a UNESCO World Heritage. The decision has been reached by UNESCO experts on verifying that all sections of the Mahavamsa were currently conserved at the University Library. Professor Upul Disanayaka, Vice-Chancellor of the Peradeniya University, told the media yesterday. Representatives of the UNESCO have inspected other Mahavamsa palm leaf books located in various places in the country, but due to their shortcomings, they were deemed not eligible for World Heritage status. Mahavamsa is believed to have been written by Bhikkhu Mahanama in the 5th or 6th century. That's business news. We look at economic news next.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
The new 20 rupee coin issued to mark the 70th anniversary of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka was presented by the Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, Professor W.D. Lakshman, to President Gotabaya Rajapaksa at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday. The commemorative coin issued to mark the 70th anniversary of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka is made of nickel-plated steel with a 7-sided shape. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka announced that 5 million coins will be added to the currency from March 3rd. That's economic news.
Congratulations on your promotion. When will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
The weather forecast: showers or thundershowers will occur at several places in the Sabragamo province and in the Gaul, Matara and Kalutara districts during the evening or night. Fairly heavy falls, about 50 millimeters, can be expected at some places in these areas. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the central, Sabragamo, Uva and western provinces and in the Gaul and Matara districts during the morning. To conclude this bulletin of news, a recap of the headlines. The Sri Lankan government rejected the allegations made by the Office of the High Commission of the Human Rights against Sri Lanka. The Pakistan Prime Minister concludes a successful 2-day visit to Sri Lanka. The 2020 O-level admission cards available online. A presidential commission to make recommendations on increasing the efficiency of the customs. The Bar Association of Sri Lanka has elected President's Council Salia Piris as the new president of the association for the year 2021-2022. A new 20 rupee coin issued to mark the 70th anniversary of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. And North Korea's Kim calls for tougher discipline in his military. That concludes this morning's news broadcast, and now it's back to your hostess, Geethanjali Ramanayaka. Good morning, Geethanjali, and it's all yours.